A lot of self-defense instructors are going to tell you that the quickest way to deter an attacker is to put up immediate and forceful resistance. Now, this is based on the theory that your attacker is going to want what they want quickly and quietly and then be on their way. They don't want any struggles, so putting up a fight against them could make them look for an easier target. Now, this is great advice if you get the right attacker. If you get the wrong attacker, you could change a horrible situation into a fatal one. Stick around as I explain why every attacker is not the same and how you can keep yourself safe. In 1979, Dr. Nicholas Groth developed a profile of several types of assaults, looking for the motivational forces behind criminology. His studies took place over 25 years and involved more than 3,000 sex offenders. Dr. Groth's determination was that rapists would generally fall under one of three typologies: the power rapist, the anger rapist, or the sadistic or ritualistic rapist. His studies were taken further by Petherick and Brent Turvey, who determined that not only rapists fell into these typologies, but most violent offenders. Now, before moving on, it's important to note that not every offender is going to fit neatly into one typology. They could exhibit characteristics from multiple typologies, or none at all. So let's take a look at Dr. Groth's motivational types, their profiles, and their style of attack. A power rapist may run away if their victim screams or puts up a fight. They don't wish to harm their victims, but to own them. Rape gives them a sense of mastery and control. However, if they don't run away, their victim's resistance is going to fuel their anger. They will use whatever force is necessary to accomplish their goals. The power rapist can be divided into two subcategories: power reassurance and power assertive. Taking a look at the profile of a power reassurance offender, we'll find this offender has low self-esteem. He's probably seen as an underachiever, employed in menial work, described by those who know him as gentle, quiet, and passive, non-athletic, take little pride in their appearance, has little or no social contact, is seen as a night owl, and usually lives alone or with a parent. The power reassurance rapist attacks are an attempt to stabilize doubts about their masculinity and their sexual adequacy. They will attempt to put the victim in a situation where they cannot refuse them. Victim selection will be predetermined ahead of time and will be chosen by their vulnerability. They're generally going to be the same age or younger than the attacker. He will be complementary to the victim and use as little force as necessary to gain control and overcome the victim's resistance. His crimes are going to be close to the proximity of where he lives because that's where he finds himself most comfortable. He'll likely select multiple targets, and if one attempt is unsuccessful, he'll move on to the next person on the list. This explains why you might have an attempted rape followed up by more attacks in the same neighborhood. The offender may reconnect with the victim to relive his fantasy. For example, he might reach out to apologize or to attempt another assault. His offenses will be repetitive and may increase in aggression over time. So knowing that the power reassurance rapist is going to try to put you in a position where you cannot refuse them, let's take a look at some strategies that you can use to keep yourself out of that situation. Without becoming paranoid, you'll want to limit the amount of people that you invite into your home to your close friends and professionals only. Need your computer fixed? Bring it to a repair shop, rather than inviting an acquaintance in to your house to fix it. While most people are only going to have the best of intentions, it's better to be safe than sorry. Don't enter into somebody else's home or car that you don't know well, regardless of their needs or sincerity. Hey, can you come in here and give me a hand with this? We tell kids this all the time. We need to start following our own advice. Avoid isolated areas when walking alone, such as taking a shortcut home through a park or through a forest. If you don't allow yourself to be put in a position where you're isolated with this attacker, then this attacker can't control you, which is what the power reassurance attacker wants. If your gut is telling you that something is wrong, trust in your gut instincts. Get to a place that's public where there's lots of people, or phone a friend that you can trust. The profile of a power assertive rapist is that of a macho man, and the most important thing to him is to have others see him as a man. He is very self-centered and does not like to be under the control of others, even in the workplace. He dresses according to his macho image, drives a macho car, and has a macho job. He's a heavy equipment operator, or a police officer, or a construction worker. He drinks a masculine drink. It'll be beer for him, no fruity drinks with umbrellas. This offender is athletic with an athletic build, the bodybuilder type. He exercises regularly and takes pride in his appearance. The power-assertive offender's attack is an attempt to restore mastery through domination. In short, they make themselves feel better by making others feel bad. They won't care if their victim is hurt or injured during the attack. The power-assertive rapist focuses his anger to prove his virility and his power over women. His assaults are impulsive, spontaneous, and unplanned. He often meets his victims on the same evening of the assault at clubs, bars, or parties. Many offenders of acquaintance rape will fall under this category. His level of force is moderate, but he will use enough force necessary to get what he wants. This attacker will attack away from his work area or his residence area because he does have the confidence to leave the area. His victims will tend to be the same age or slightly older than he is. He may also commit several assaults during the same night to prove his masculinity. We know that the power-assertive rapist often meets his victims at bars, clubs, or parties, so it's a good idea when going out with your friends, especially if alcohol is involved, to have a plan ahead of time to make sure you know how everybody's going to get home and keep everybody safe. The anger rapist's assaults can be unpredictable. The rage displayed in these assaults can range from verbal abuse to murder. The amount of force and violence used by anger rapists in cases where the victim does not resist can be excessive. Should the victim resist, this will probably further intensify the level of aggression. Anger rapists often cause significant physical injury as well as the rape itself. In many cases, this type of rapist is displaying misplaced anger at a random woman because another woman in his mind has wronged him. Often the rapist has had a fight with his wife or his girlfriend just beforehand, which has triggered this assault. The anger rapist will have an explosive personality. This may have resulted in prior arrests for assault. He acts impulsively. This offender has an action-oriented job, allowing him to work off some of his aggression. Personal acquaintances often report a dark side to the offender's personality or lifestyle. The offender may be a high school dropout. They're capable of socializing, but prefers to be alone and is considered a lone wolf. His relationships are often superficial, and he may abuse alcohol. The anger offender's attack is unplanned. There's no set timing. The attack is precipitated by events in the offender's life. He attacks spontaneously and out of anger. His language will be abusive and he'll use a lot of obscenities. The force used by this attacker will be excessive. The victim will be battered. His approach will be a blitz attack and he'll attack during the day or at night. His chosen victims are often symbolic of the person that he's felt has wronged him. The victims will also be around his own age or a little bit older, and the offender will often drink alcohol to release his inhibitions. To the anger offender, rape is a punishing act, and it may leave him feeling that his cause has been justified. Again, with the anger offender, situational awareness is going to be imperative in keeping yourself safe. Maybe you're talking to somebody that's been in a fight with their girlfriend or their wife or having problems with them. If you are going to meet with them, do so in a public place. The sadistic or ritualistic rapist, thankfully, is the least common. For them, sexuality and aggression are completely merged. Their goal is to gain sexual gratification through causing pain to their victims. They will be the most likely to be abusive to their victims and also the most likely to murder their victims. Object rape is also extremely common with sadistic rapists. Sadistic rapists are opportunistic and usually kidnap their victims. Looking at the profile of the sadistic rapist, he is usually a white male, outgoing, and well-liked. He has above average IQ, at least some college education. Usually works a white-collar job, compulsive. He's an outdoorsman, a survivalist, and would do well in the military. The offender does not abuse drugs. He might use some drugs in moderation, but losing control is avoided. He's often happily married. His wife will be firmly under his control and is often a victim herself. If the offender has a girlfriend, she will not be under his control, and he will not act out against her. He may own a family-type vehicle, such as an SUV or a minivan. The sadistic rapist's assault is calculated and pre-planned. This is the most premeditated sexual crime, practiced over and over again in his mind before he puts the plan into action. His voice is non-emotional and practiced. The victim will suffer physical abuse to the sexual areas of her body. In extreme cases, she's murdered and mutilated. His language is communicating and degrading and often alternates between threatening and reassuring. Physical force and aggression are eroticized. The assault may be for an extended duration where the victim is held, assaulted, and then disposed of. Victim selection is done by symbolic representation and is usually a complete stranger. The age of the victim does not matter. The offense is ritualistic, typically involving bondage, torture, or extreme acts. There's no pattern to the attacks. He'll attack when he wants to. If you're going to fight back against a sadistic rapist, you're going to want to make sure that you've got a pretty good chance of escape. Fighting back could feed their sadism, pushing them to further acts of depravity. So, should you fight back against your attacker? Unfortunately, there's no one right answer. In some cases, it's going to save you. In other cases, it's going to put you in a worse situation. The best solution, as always, is try not to be there in the first place. Try to look ahead and take precautions that will keep you out of that situation. I hope you found that video informative. If you did, please smash that subscribe button below and leave me a comment. I hope to see you all in the next video.